This is Ion Sullivan. I am Mike McGuire, your host, joined today, as we are each week, by the chairman, Rob Doherty. Rob, happy 2026.
Oh, my God, Mike, I have not seen you
In a year.
in a year.
Yeah.
Not since last year.
So we got a new year. You had a great trip to Pittsburgh.
Oh, my God, let me tell you about the Pittsburgh experience, okay? Let me just tell you this. I just want to point out that I did invite you to the game.
You did. Yeah,
Okay.
you did. Unfortunately, I was just coming back and wasn't able to go, but what a game.
So I go with my son, Matt, and my good friend, Craig Fleischman.
Right.
Okay? And so we go to the game, and so we had those club seats that I spoke about last time.
Right.
I mean, not a better deal in the country, right? So what happens is I buy them right before the Ravens Green Bay game,
Correct.
right? So everyone thinks Green Bay's going to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Then you know Freight Train Henry was going to just run all over the place.
Oh, my God, did he ever.
He's a beast. And so I buy them for $206 a piece, right? What a deal.
That's not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal at all.
No, an NFL stadium today.
Especially for the
For a championship game, yeah, the club tickets.
So, but they know it's a championship game. Now remember, if Green Bay wins, no championship
There's no
game.
championship game.
If Cleveland loses, no championship game. But it all lined up.
All lined up
The
perfect.
stars line up. So then we go, and so I drive out there with Craig Fleischman, my son Maddie. Nice drive, blah, blah. We get there. So we get there an hour and 20 minutes early. Okay?
This is a Sunday night game.
Sunday night game, right? And so now I got the whole Pittsburgh thing down. We take the ferry, and we got the whole thing down, right? So we get there a little early, and we're watching the Ravens kicker keep getting closer and closer in practice because he keeps shanking them. Just so we're clear, if you're looking at the field goal post,
Yep.
a shank is to the left,
Right.
a push is to the right.
All right.
Okay. So he's shanking them. He gets down to the 15-yard line, and now he's just chipping them in, right? But he was missing them to the left.
And that's what you do. I mean, you remember you were a basketball
Yeah.
player. We would put guys right under the rim and let's get your mechanics.
Correct.
And that's what he's trying to do, to get him to 15 so you're not trying to push it. You're trying to get your mechanics.
So then we go to at the end of the half. We have 2 seconds left. You know, the far referee was jobbing the hell out of us in that game, me being a Pittsburgh fan.
Right.
And then he calls a pass interference, 2 seconds left, and they wind up going for a touchdown. And I'm MFing the whole time. So I'm like, we need those 3 points. We need those 3 points. Now, Matt and Craig had a private conversation.
Right.
And they're like, God, I hope this game doesn't come down to 3 points. Goes to 5.5 hours of him in the car. We're going to Uber home, okay? So, needless to say, so if you watch the next to last play before the field goal attempt,
Yep. One when he just lined it up.
Jackson gets the ball and he moves over and kneels.
Puts it right.
Okay.
Puts it in the middle of the field.
Right? Because he was shanking him. Right? So he got him far over to the right.
Yep.
The guy comes out. They're like, oh, he's 29 for 29 under 50.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy, they got to miss this. Boom, they miss it. Right?
Unbelievable. I had it on TV and I could not believe. In fact, I sent you a text right away. I can't believe he missed it.
And I was like, man, oh my God. And Matt and Craig were not Pittsburgh fans, were like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Because if we had listened to this guy on the ride home about the 3 points at the end of the half, the whole time I was like, this mother jumper. So anyway, so it was a great time.
It's a great trip. You love that Pittsburgh ballpark. It's
fantastic. I love the whole experience.
The whole experience is great. And so it's 2026.
Yeah,
and so we reset all the calendars now.
Yeah.
And we can look back now on the now passed budget. Now, got to give the legislature a lot of credit because they were looking at a 9% tax increase, and they sharpened their pencils, and they got to work, and they cut some spending, and they got it down to 2%.
They did not. They didn't. So, one of the things that they did was, so to lower the percentage, you either had to cut out spending,
Right.
or raise revenues.
Correct.
Okay, those are your two options, or a fair combination of both. Okay, they did not cut spending one iota. Okay,
Nothing.
so they took they took projected sales tax from $75 million from $74 million to $77 million.
So that's your $3 million in sales tax.
That's $3 million in sales tax.
Based on what?
Okay. So it's on a forecast. Okay. But now I've found out since then that it was revised downwards by 7%. Okay. So they're looking at a $74.5 million. So they just lied to the people of this county over $3.5 million.
Wow.
Okay. So they have to make up $3.5 million more in 3 months.
Wow.
Which I wish them the best of luck because it's never been done before.
Right.
So I don't see how it's going to be done this time, especially with more
When the price of the gas coming down.
with the price of gas coming down and price of heat and fuel coming down, the price of the so your number 3 largest revenue generator, right, for sales tax is now coming down. So I don't know how you're going to do this. So
Wow.
there's going to be some, but see, here's the problem, and let me tell you the problem.
Right.
So when I was in office, one of the things that we found out during COVID was that you needed to have money set aside.
Of course.
Because once your state and your federal government gets crippled, it takes longer to get your payments, okay?
Sure.
And that just happened with CHIPS money and everything else. A lot of townships put the paperwork in on time, and they're like, oh, sorry, by the way, we kind of screwed up, and we'll get it to you, in the spring. Meanwhile, you have no way to close that 800,000,
Sure.
gap, right? So anyway, they turn around and they lied to you about the amount of sales tax. And they knew this, just so we're clear. I just want to be clear on this. They knew the answer to the question.
Right.
Okay? They hid it from the public, right? But they're not worried about it. And let me tell you why they're not worried about it. So we put $34.2 million into a rainy day fund.
That was so that we had at least 2 or 3 months of operating capital
months.
put aside.
2 months of expenses put aside.
And that meant that the then treasurer, Nancy, who's now in retirement, wish her the best of luck in her retirement, wouldn't have to take those short-term high-interest loans.
Correct. So we basically put it in a lockbox.
Right.
Okay. And now keep in mind that money is generating money.
Sure.
All the time.
Generating interest. Sure.
It generates interest, and they take the interest and put it into the general fund.
Right, because as that gets spent, we use it as short-term loans to ourselves.
Correct.
And then when the tax revenue comes in, we replenish that $32 million.
No. The $34.2 million stays still.
Okay.
But it's generating money.
Right.
Right? A couple $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that goes into the general fund. So that's part of our revenue.
Part of the revenue.
Okay. They don't think it's part of our they don't see it as a rainy day fund. They don't think it should be under a lockbox. They're going to spend that money next year when there's a shortage.
Now, that wasn't part of the $87 million fund.
No. This is something totally different.
So it was separate.
Yeah, it's in a reserved account.
Right.
Okay? They are going to spend that money and spend this county's future to get themselves elected. You wait and see on this.
Wow. Yeah. That's
Because the name of the
something.
game for them, for this particular crew, is to get reelected.
Get elected.
Okay? They're lying to the people. I don't know if you know this, Mike, but Bethel had their reorg last night.
Okay.
And
Couple did. I know Thompson had theirs on Monday night, I believe, or Tuesday night.
And so we had the town of Bethel had our reorg last night. And as you know, my dear friend, Susan Brown Otto, had passed away.
Passed, yeah.
And so now, and she was the duly elected tax collector. So they needed another tax collector, and they had put out a letter of, someone to send in letters of interest.
Right.
And I sent in a letter, and lo and behold,
There you go.
Tax collector.
Hey,
in the town of Bethel.
that's outstanding.
That's fantastic.
So, and your objective would be to collect as little as possible.
Well, you know what I think. I think taxation is theft, but
Right.
I have a job to do.
You have a job to do. Well, look, you're not setting the tax. You're just saying
Yeah.
you're going to come here to pay it.
It
And
is.
we need roads, we need a highway department, you need those kind of
And
things.
anything beyond that, I think it's kind of crazy. So anyway, so my point being is that now we have a situation where this group is going to have to find that money somewhere. I mean, where do they find the money, Mike?
Only one place.
Okay, so our good friend, Nicholas Salamone,
Right.
told me, said today during a legislative meeting that there should be a hiring freeze.
Okay.
And I'm like, hiring freeze,
though, but
I don't know how you can fit another employee in a county, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, they have 1,158 employees, okay? When I left, it was a little over 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay? They have put on
about 100.
close to 160 employees.
Yeah. And then these are not people that were hired. People retire and you hire, replace.
No.
These are new positions that were created.
Correct.
Population is the same. Revenues are actually down a little bit.
Significantly, actually.
And so now we've got 150 roughly new positions. And at that time, that did not include positions in the nursing home because those were all covered by the operated nursing home.
Correct.
By Saul. Didn't include medical at the jail. Prime Care takes care of that.
Yep.
And now they're also looking to take back the nursing home, which will mean...
No, they've taken it back.
Okay, so that's more people that have to be hired.
So it's more people that have to be hired. That's an expense of $5.3 million that they don't have budgeted, by the way.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know where that money's coming from. Right? And they're just playing number games right now. At some point, they're going to have to pay the piper. And the way they're going to do it, listen to me now. I'm telling you now. They're going to go into our rainy day fund and raid that money, okay? And people won't even know it happened, okay?
Right.
They'll just do a balance transfer. No one will even think about it, okay? That $2 million that I had put away for housing, they put that into the general fund.
Be gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's all going to be gone.
Right.
Okay? And they'll be like, oh, look at the great job I've done, okay?
Sure.
And what job have you done? All you've done is spent our money down and have nothing to show for it.
Right.
That's all you've done.
Right. So what should the taxpayers of Sullivan County be doing to keep an eye on this as it develops? Because it seems to me like there's a lot of attention relatively when a budget is passed, and then people go back to their everyday lives, and it's going to be in that time, April, May, June, when no one's paying attention, here comes the slide.
Well, the slide, as you know, usually comes in like June, July, when they do. Here's another thing real fast. So when George Conklin was in office with me, he was in charge of management and budget.
Right.
Okay. And we put up some pretty good budgets, right? I just want to put this past you right now. Not only did we put money away, okay, to where we left $88 million
in addition to the rainy day fund.
In addition to the rainy day fund in the bank, right? That money's in the bank, okay? We paid off $26 million in bonds early, okay? Ahead of all that, okay? And how was that able to be done? George, who was the head of management budget, right now Brian McPhillips is, used to have workshops. And then you would have a workshop, and you would bring in every department.
Yep.
And you would say, okay, let's go over the budget that you're proposing for us, right? And then we would question stuff, and we'd go back and forth, and you would whittle it down, and you'd have a better understanding of it. And keep in mind that they were open to the public, and anyone could come in, and they could watch it, and they could do whatever you wanted to do with the information. But it made everyone aware of the monies, okay?
Right.
This group has not done one.
Wow.
Not
one.
one. So if you have a 2% tax increase,
right,
and you had a 2.5% tax increase last year, okay, you're at 4.5 for 2 years.
For 2 years.
I just want to point out, I was at 3.89
for 4 years.
For 4 years, and I left them an $88 million, we'll say $87 million fund balance that they've used in this budget. They used $5.5 million of that money to help balance their budget. So they're borrowing money that I left for them, okay, to balance their budget. And some of the things that are in there are being bonded.
And they know that in order to get it to 2%, they've artificially inflated the revenues, which if we don't meet those revenues, then that money, because it's already appropriated is going to have to be made up.
Okay, so the great Nancy Buck gets up there right before she goes on and gives her speech about being in the county for 20-some-odd years and how much she's loved it here. And you think about all she's given to the county. Her first line is, "I don't agree with this budget."
Wow.
Right? So in your goodbye speech, before I get to my goodbye speech,
Right.
let's keep an eye on the ball here, and bangs him out on that.
And that never happened either because everybody was part of that budget process.
Correct.
You didn't, I mean, for people who may not have been around the government center, the treasurer's office geographically is located on the first floor.
Correct.
And then most of the other senior administrative offices, the auditor, the legislature, county attorney,
HR.
county manager, HR, those were all on the second floor.
Correct.
But the didn't always happen before, but under your and George's leadership, the first floor and the second floor were communicating. So if Nancy didn't agree with it, it wasn't going to wait to public comment.
No.
And I think there would have been a discussion. And why don't you agree with it? Okay, what can we do? There was the process that took place.
So one of the things, if you've ever been in the treasurer's office, when you walk in, there's 6-7 people in, a bank of, desks.
Yeah.
And so the joke always was when I would walk in, they would all scream, "Hello, first floor."
Right.
Hello,
second floor.
Hello, second floor. And I would say, "Hello, first floor." Right? Because, there is when you're in anything, everyone's clear I'm on the second floor now. Right? But we were so friendly with each other, and we had such an open relationship with each other. You could go back and talk to Shannon Ambrust and ask her, can you find out this for me? I want to know why this happened.
And you had to do that regularly because it was a matter of you and George were constantly monitoring the revenues and the expenses.
Correct.
It wasn't like, oh, well, this month what's happening? That's why I used to say that Thursday mornings were the most anticlimactic time of the week because we knew all this stuff, not because it was discussed in the back, in terms of where are we with budget, where are we with revenues, where are we with expenses, what's happening with sales tax revenue. It was all known already.
That was all known information.
All week long,
Correct.
That information was constantly filtering both ways.
And you had meetings over it. You had
Constant.
into office meetings with people. I sat in on the budget process with Josh every year so that we
Every day.
Well, every day. So that we understood the process all the time. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? We gave Josh a directive, and, there's not many people better than Josh at this.
Nope.
This is what we want to spend. This is where we want the budget to be. We want to cut taxes in this county. And 2 years we were negative. I mean, forget that. Two of my 4 years, we were minus.
Yep.
Okay. Because think about it, these guys are at 2% and 2.5% their first year, okay? And my 4 years is lower than that.
Yeah.
And I had no falsehoods, right?
Right.
So when people talk about budgets, like if I was short $5 million like these guys were, right? I wouldn't have to lie about my projected revenues. I would just stop paying off bonds as fast as I was paying them off.
Right.
I would still be saving at the same rate, but all I had to do was stop because we were paying off bonds at $6.5 million a year.
Right.
Right? Early. Or faster than what they were asking us to do. So I wanted to rid us of debt. The key for us, I always said, was get out of debt. Once you're out of debt, you have a much clearer head, and you can really look at projects.
It's the key even with your household budget.
Correct. And then
You live on a credit card, that's a problem.
and they don't have a gun to your head then and say, you have to do this, you have to do that, and you're afraid of the state or whoever's trying to muss you up and stuff. So it's not a good situation. But apparently they doubled down on it. I mean, you take the leadership. Nadia gets,
So we want to talk about that. Let's talk about the reorganization. Any surprises in the reorganization?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what do we have now? Who's the sitting chair of the legislature?
So the sitting chair of the legislature is Nadia Reich.
Okay.
Again, so she gets reelected.
She can-
And then Louis is the vice chair.
So that was a switch because it had been Joey
Correct. So
Joey Perello.
So Joey Perello is no dummy, and he said, "I don't want any part of this.
Right.
You guys have a ball, okay?" See, because again, the Dems wanted the power.
Well, they're all nice people.
Yeah.
We work with them.
Apparently, we can't work with them. Apparently.
Apparently, it's the people of the county that can't work with them. So now we get the power. The power. The leadership is just an inverse of what it was when you decided you had to run.
Correct.
So it was Louis Nadia.
Correct.
And now it's Nadia Louis.
Correct.
And as we head down the road to 2026, at least we know we've got two people in there who traditionally have not overspent their revenues.
They overspent their revenues 4 years in a row, and they broke the tax cap their first year in office. This was the legislature before me. Correct. That's what prompted me to run.
So they'll probably outspend their revenues this year because they've so inflated the projected revenues.
So the thing is, they're not going to see the revenues, right?
Right.
And they're going to see the budget, and they're going to see what they spent if they read the sheets. But they probably not going to read the sheets. And they're just going to spend money and ask Josh to figure out how to pay for it.
They're going to keep spending money. Well, it's going to have to come out of fund balance. It's the only place it can come.
Well, you're not going to have any left at some point.
Well, that's
and
correct.
You're going to have to start bonding, and you're going to have to start, and putting the county in the average taxpayer in this county is going to be behind the eight ball. And the next 2 years is going to be the toughest 2 years of your life.
Well, those that try to live in the Village of Liberty, you had a 19% tax increase in the village. You've got 5% for the town, and you've got the 2% for the county. And that's just a harbinger of what is going to come down the pike because, when you live on a credit card, and in essence what the county is doing is slapping the credit card down, eventually that bill's got to be paid. And so the 27 budget may be a real eye-opener.
I don't think it is. I think they're just going to bond their way out of this.
Just bond their way out of it.
They're going to make everything look good on paper.
Yep.
And they're going to lay it out and be like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's all good. Look at us. We're doing a great job.
So with the reorganization, did they reset any of the committees? Any interesting appointments in committee chairs?
No, they did not.
Okay, so everything's pretty much going to stay status quo.
So I know for a fact that they kept Matt as the head of the Economic Development Committee.
He's doing a great job. His own economic development has done very well.
So they keep Matt there, and again, they created this committee for him.
Right.
So now we're into the 22nd month of that committee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now keep in mind, they just did their 25th month of business in that committee.
Yep.
So he's been the chair of 22 of those committees. This is the 15th time, at 22 times, there has not been a single resolution in economic development. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? Why do we even we created the committee because they're trying to resume build for the kid.
Right.
They're trying to say, look, he gets to write on his resume, I was the chair of economic development.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Even though for 15 of the 22 months, he's only put up 14 resolutions in 22 months.
So this doesn't seem like a lot.
No.
Doesn't seem like a lot at all.
And one of them was to pay the partnership money.
Well, that was important.
Well, that's very important.
Right.
I mean, he does have to sit at the kitchen table with the person.
Right.
I mean, so. No.
And have they cut the appropriation to the partnership? Because that was supposed to be self-sustaining by now.
No. They're not going to do that. His wife is the vice president of it.
Right. Right.
It's not going to happen.
So let's change hats for you now. Mm-hmm. So you're now officially the tax collector for the town of Bethel.
Yeah.
What exactly is the tax collector responsibilities?
Actually, it's a little bit more complicated than it seems.
Always is.
So yeah. So the state uses this system, right? So you basically are sitting in an office in town hall in the town of Bethel. You want to come on down, pay your taxes, come on down.
Come on down.
So I'm there with Dina Sturm. She helps me. She's my assistant.
Terrific.
Does a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. And she knows her stuff, I'll tell you that. And I know her 42 years. 42. I know her a long time. So she was literally in the living room the day my wife came home from the hospital as a newborn. So
Nice.
she knows the family a long time. So she was showing me how to use the act lookup. I have to take this 13-minute course.
Okay.
And so then you
13-minute.
yeah, it's 13-minute course. It's basically on how to enter,
Right.
in tax lookup, how to people's money in, and then but then you have to keep records of it, and it's a little more complicated than they make it seem. It's not just transactional.
Right.
If you're just taking it and putting it in a box, it's transactional.
Well, you could always ask John Pizzolatto to help you out.
No, I would not ask him. I'm sure at some point that the state auditors are going to go. Oh, by the way, you remember we were talking about that Russ grant?
Sure.
For Highland.
For Highland, for the house.
Yeah. For the
parking lot.
No. They're not going to use it but the town buys that
Buys
property,
the house.
okay?
Right.
And they get a Russ grant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was reading the grant the other day, mind my own business like I usually do, and it says all work must be completed by 12/31/2025.
Well, so I guess all work is completed.
Well, electrical is still hooked up to the building as of yesterday.
And the work was the building was supposed to come down.
It's supposed to be an empty lot.
It's supposed to be an empty lot.
So they haven't done a lick of work yet, but so I don't know how they're going to handle that. I don't know how the county's going to handle that. They have it bid out. Not one iota of work has been done on it yet.
Wow.
The electricity's still on the building.
Wow.
It was supposed to have asbestos, so you need a 7-day period. I mean, there's lots to go into this. And today's the 8th, I believe. So 8 days ago, the grant expired.
Wow.
So I don't know what we're going to do about that.
That's incredible. All right, let's change hats again now. You're the chair of the Republican Party.
That's what they
in
held.
Sullivan County. And so we've got the midterm elections coming up, which the president met with the Republican caucus.
Yeah.
It's
down to one. It's down to one person lead now. You had Major Marjorie Greenleaf, a guy unexpectedly passed away. You have some issues there.
And you've got a guy who was just recently in a car accident. So you've lost 3 or 4 bodies out of a 118, 113 majority. So it's truly razor thin. And traditionally, the party in power does not hold on to both houses of Congress on the elections.
It's rare.
Despite this year, an awful lot of good things have happened. But so locally, what elections? What's coming up in the campaign calendar?
So in the campaign calendar, we are going to do something I don't think we've ever done before. Okay, as a Republican Party. First thing,
elect Republicans?
Well, that's our main goal. That is our main goal.
That's something we've rarely done before.
I understand your point. Okay, so we are going to have a nominating convention.
Okay,
on the 15th of January. And the purpose of that convention is to have the whole committee vote on who we want to nominate to be our representatives that we're going to go out and get petitions for.
Okay.
And you could like whoever you want to like. Okay. But once the party says, this is our candidate.
This is it. Who it is.
Okay? We're not doing this, you get some petitions for that guy, you get some for that guy, you get them for this person. We're not doing that anymore.
And you get petitions for the Democrat when you're a Republican.
We're not doing that anymore. Those days are over. Okay? So we have a new...
People don't realize how hard it is to run for office. Somebody wants to run for even a legislative seat. You're running around getting petitions, you're working a full-time job. It's a lot of work, and it's a dark tunnel. You have no idea how to go about it. You need the help of the seasoned people that have been through those wars.
Well, I believe that is one of the main jobs of a committee person.
Of course.
So now, just so you know this also, we have, for all intents and purposes, a full committee. We have 160 people on our committee.
And that's a first.
That is a first, okay? We are... The seats that are not full, either have no value or under 3.
Right.
Okay. So we do have new bylaws coming out. One of the things that we did keep in there is that your proxy has to be notarized.
Okay.
And we thought that was a very important thing. But one of the things that we are enforcing is the weighted voting. Okay. Because the reason why we have weighted voting, it was our very own Lawrence Cook in 1967 that, in a pretty landmark case, came up with the weighted voted system in the state of New York.
And how does the weighted votes work?
Okay, so there are 3 methods that you can go about it, but in this set of bylaws, because the last set was kind of, the guy who wrote them was a little...
Yeah, he's a little shady,
A little shady.
He was a disgraced person, shameful.
So
Got the county into all that litigation with Expedia and people, wasted a lot of time.
yeah. So anyway, they sufficed for the time, but as time went on, I mean, you wrote them 16 years ago, 17 years ago,
2009.
Yeah. So as time went on, they were never updated.
They were never seen. They're like the Red Sea Scrolls.
Correct. So
you had to do an excavation in your mother-in-law's closet to get one copy.
Correct. Well, that's how we found them. Right? Yeah, that's how we found them. So the method that we're going to go with is, as you know, there's election districts, and inside each election district. So let's say in Bethel there's 5 sets of election districts. There's 2 people per election district. The one that I'm assigned to is District 4. I happen to live in it. Me and my lovely wife, both, we both live in that district. And so it's how many votes the Republican gubernatorial candidate gets in that district. Okay. So that's how many.
So it's a fixed point. It's an objective measure.
Correct. So I think ours now is like 124. But a lot of people have been registered, since 4 years ago, when Lee Zeldin ran. So that number, we're expecting that number to be over 200,
right.
the next time around. I believe by election day, the Republican Party will be the largest party in the county.
Okay.
We are actively pursuing new registrants. We're actively pursuing flipping people who are independent or non-committal to our party.
Right.
The Democrats have either high 17 or low 18,000 registered people. We're looking to be, by the time we get to election day, to be in the 22 to 23,000 range.
Okay.
We are aggressively pursuing making our party large.
And that's all part of people. Getting someone elected is not getting out the vote on election day. That's part of it. But there's an awful lot of work that has to go into getting them to that point.
Correct. And that's why, so as you know, for years and years and years, they've kept the party, as far as the committeemen go, kind of small. Okay.
Right.
You take the towns like a Neversink or a Calhoun. They've always kept theirs pretty full. And I do have to tell you, they got tons and tons of signatures. Okay? Because the county minimum, I believe, is around 900 to qualify for a ballot.
For a countywide seat.
Yeah, for a countywide seat. And those 2 towns in particular would always overperform. But my point is, why do they have to overperform while others are underperforming?
Right.
So one of the new lines in there, if these are passed next Thursday, is to every committee person has to get 10 signatures. Okay, so that would give us 1,600 signatures.
Perfect.
So you have a little over 1.5 the amount of signatures you need to qualify for a ballot. Okay, and there's no splitting your loyalties. You can't go get 10 for this guy and 10 for that guy. this is the person that because we're going to continue to have these nominating conventions, right? So it's an up and down vote, right? I mean, do we want, so let's say Stefanik stayed in it, right? So it was going to come down to, do you want Stefanik or do you want Blakeman, right? And you were going to have to, cast your vote for the person. The
committee would.
Yeah, the committee would. Brian Mayer over in 101st, he would have got an up and down vote. If we have a candidate here in the 100th, for the Assembly District, they would have got a vote. Obviously, Peter Oberacker is running for Congress. There's someone else that's trying to get in there, but I would imagine Peter's done, a very good job for us as state senator. I would imagine he would win that, going away.
People need to remember, I was having this discussion with someone yesterday, how important those elections are to our life around the table.
Correct.
If the balance of power in Congress shifts, whatever progress we're making with the price of fuel and the non-mandating,
it was 78 cents today. 78 cents today.
78 cents.
Yeah.
So the progress that we're making, we're not there yet, but we're only through 1 year of a 4-year administration. And, the whole issue in Venezuela. And why is that important around the kitchen table? Well, because your next door neighbor that died of a fentanyl overdose, where do you think it's coming from? You got to shut that off. You got to control the border. So when they criticize the administration currently for focusing more on international issues than on domestic issues, well, that's why, because they have a domestic impact. But
housing also.
I
mean, there's a housing crunch because there's over 10 million people that are not reported to be in here, so they did not build enough homes. And enough, living units for these people.
Sure. So these are important. And not only are they important for the balance of power, but there's a more close-to-home issue. To get a Peter Oberacker in Congress, he has, in the years he's been with the Senate, he has become more familiar to the people and of the people in the county. I know he's here fairly regularly. We see him here in Liberty. He's visible. And having a congressman that our county leaders can call to say, we need assistance with A, B, or C is very valuable. I remember fondly, so did the waitresses in Tilly's, when Senator Martucci would come, and we would have an almost every week or every 2 weeks meeting with him in the government center, and then we would go to lunch, and the waitress would get a nice tip.
One time they got a very nice
tip. But that was important because you had somebody you could call that could help run some interference. I know he helped out with DEC with us a little bit on some issues. So that's so important. So it's an off-year election. The person running for president's important, but these are really important to the kitchen table.
The whole thing with Peter Oberacker is this, right? So he's been our senator now for 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I call Peter up, right, and not as chair of the party, but as a citizen of the town of Bethel, right? And he knows me already and all that fun stuff, right? I don't have to sit there and spend, an hour explaining my need, and then having him spend 6, 7, 10 hours of his staff's time to research the need, right? He knows what I'm talking about when I say, Peter, remember this, blah, 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 go through the issue. All right, I know what you're talking about. Let me put this person on it. I'll call you back, right? And then the issue gets solved very quickly. Our current congressman, Josh Riley, he's sitting there talking about, NYSEG and this and cost and this guy. Stop, okay? You knew that these rates were coming, And
sure.
you did nothing.
Correct.
Okay? Not till after they were enforced. Not till after, your donors, okay, and the people who support you were making money off of this. Did you say, oh, we have to stop NYSEG? You could have stopped this if you really wanted to be the big dog on campus. You could have stopped this before they went into effect.
It's all about elections. It's all about getting elected. And once they're elected, you don't see that. And, so to drive home the point that we're not talking only about Republican on Republican, one of the most influential politicians that assisted your administration early on was Antonio Delgado.
Correct.
He put together $1.4 million for rail trails to kind of kick off and get something moving with that.
Correct.
So it's so important, and you and he struck up a relationship right away.
I still speak with him today.
Yeah.
I still speak with him today. I don't think politically we agree on much.
We don't.
But his kids, his wife, my kids, that's what we talk about. I mean, because we're just friendly with each other. I found that has happened with me with a lot of things. One of my very good friends is a guy by the name of Mitch Clark. He was a national champion wrestler at The Ohio State University. And him and I, he'd do clinics and stuff at different tournaments, and him and I would chat it up all the time. And, people would ask me when I would go back to the wrestling club, why are you so friendly with him? I said, I don't talk wrestling with him.
Right.
We never talk wrestling.
Right.
I mean, what am I going to talk to a national champion about?
Right.
I mean, he's had his ass kissed, for 10 years over a championship. I talked to him about his wife, his kids, business, the weather, things are interesting, hiking trails. He's a Peaks member.
Okay.
And we talk about stuff like that. I mean, what'd you think about this peak? Blah, blah. How much running do you do in this peak or that peak? And that's what we talk about. We don't talk about wrestling. We're going to talk to him about wrestling.
So what are the key races that will be coming up in 2026?
Well, so on the 15th of January is going to be a big vote on who's going to represent us in the 51st district for the state senator.
Okay.
So Chris Tague, who is out of Schoharie County, an assemblyman for, I believe, a decade. He's running to fill Peter Oberacher's spot.
Okay. From Peter Oberacher's district.
Yeah, correct. And we have our very own Terry Bernardo, who's a legislator from District 9.
Okay.
She's looking to run for that, and there's going to be a primary.
And an opportunity to, again, have somebody who is got their roots down in Sullivan County to represent Sullivan County.
Well, now you have
benefit.
You also have to remember, I believe it was 14 years ago, she was the chair of the Ulster County Legislature.
Right.
So she understands that part of the district. She understands this part of the district. She has made many inroads into other parts of the district. And to be fair, Chris Tague knows the district well. Also, he had worked not for Callahan, but for a company that sold a lot of the sites to Callahan. So he knows the area well also. I think they're both qualified candidates. I don't think that we lose with either one of them.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we want to support our people.
So there's going to be a primary.
There's going to be a primary. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be a primary.
That primary will happen when?
That will happen, I believe that's the third Tuesday in June. Correct. So last time they had the primary, if you remember, it was all screwed up, and it didn't happen until August.
Correct. It was the 18th, as I recall.
Yeah, it was a special election. And so Terry did not get the nomination over Peter Oberacher back then, but she still beat him 3-1 in the county.
Right.
I mean, she did well for herself. I don't know how this vote's going to go, but I imagine the vote's is going to be in Terry's favor for this county.
For this county.
I don't know if other counties are having nominating conventions, but one of the things, and I spoke about it here, I spoke to you privately about it, is everything we do, we're going to do on the up and up and out in public. Okay. We will never, ever do that back room types. I'm not doing that. Okay. It's been done before. It's done in politics every day.
Sure.
Okay. I just don't do that.
Standard fare in politics.
It's standard fare in politics. You can say it's right or wrong. That's fine. I'm the chairman right now, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to have it wide open, okay? I'm not condemning anyone for I haven't done it before. All I'm saying is that this is how I'm running the party.
Going forward, this is the way it's going to be.
This is how I run the party, okay? And it's going to be wide open.
Now, will the voters in Sullivan County, the Republican voters, have an opportunity to hear from Chris Teague and hear from Terry Bernardo?
Well, I mean, the convention, the nominating convention is next Thursday.
Okay.
So I spoke to Bruce Blakeman's. Here's a funny little story. So I spoke to Bruce Blakeman's campaign manager.
Yep.
And so we're chatting it up, and we're having a grand old time. And he happens to be the chairman for the Bronx.
Oh, wow.
For the Republican Party.
There we go.
So, we start talking.
We must have some lonely meetings.
So, what are you talking to my wife? She said the same thing.
Yeah.
So we're chatting it up, right? Minding my own business with the guy and just, finding out about the guy. And I'm like, where in the Bronx do you live? And he goes, oh, I live in Throgs Neck. I said, oh, where in Throgs Neck? He goes, he tells me the road, and then I tell him the cross streets. And he goes, oh, you know the Bronx. I said, oh, I know the Bronx well. I grew up in Parkchester. So then he goes, I grew up in Parkchester.
Oh, my word.
And I said, oh, where did you live? He says, oh, I lived on Tremont Avenue, right across from the DMV. I said, oh, by the old Sizzler there, right? So then he was like, yeah, as you know, you were born, 4 blocks up.
4 blocks up.
Yeah, right? And so off Morris Park. And then so then we just start talking, and we wound up knowing like 10 people.
How about that?
Right?
Was he a Sam Raymond's guy?
Mikey. Where do you think you went, Mike?
Spellman.
He went to Spellman.
Oh, that's reason enough not to vote for him.
I say. So his name is Mike also. I said, Mike, I don't know how our relationship's going to go. But
You're right.
I understand.
Let's just put it this way. We'll just chalk it up to your parents made a bad decision.
I just don't get the 3 buses. I mean, it's like 10 degrees outside. I'm not getting on 3 buses for nobody. Okay?
I mean, my girlfriend in college was a graduate of Spellman, played basketball there. Oh, she was a good ball player. But she lived in the other part of the Bronx where it wasn't so far to go to stand wait for the bus in the shadow of St. Raymond's. You get on a bus and go across the Bronx. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
He literally lived 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
So if you're in Tremont, right? Well, so let's say you walk to the corner, right, of Purdy, right?
Yeah.
And then you walk down 1 block, right?
Yeah.
And then you walk down 1 more block.
Here you are. Yeah.
There you are, right?
Here you are.
I mean, wow. But no. I mean, you could have went to Scanlon. I mean, you took 3 buses. 3 buses.
Jeez. So he is running a campaign for Bruce Blakeman.
Yep.
And Bruce is going to be the Republican candidate for governor.
Oh, we assume that, yes.
Yeah. And that will be an important race for the state.
And he is quite the track record.
He's currently the county executive in Nassau.
And does a great job.
Does an amazing job there.
Yeah.
And how important would that be in terms of, we've got a Democratic socialist running New York City. We've got a governor that's pandering to them.
Oh, did you see that woman that works for Mondami there? She's talking about about housing.
The housing.
So she wants to take away property rights.
That's right. She wants to take away property rights.
Right.
She's in Crown Heights.
Yeah.
In Brooklyn, in a very exclusive, gentrified neighborhood.
Correct.
And her mother owns a $1.4 million
home
in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how about we bust that up into apartments?
Right.
Right. Don't worry, your mom will get an apartment.
She'll get a studio. She's single.
Yeah,
How much does she need?
Yeah, how much does she need, right? We'll even give her the first floor, right?
Give her the first floor.
Right? No problem. And And you're talking about property rights?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You start taking away property. And we had the same thing during COVID when people want to away property rights. I was like, whoa, we're not taking away property.
Well, I was up here. They wanted to say that people couldn't come up and use their vacation homes.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, we're not taking away property rights.
Doing that.
Right now.
We're not going down that road.
No, that's not going to happen here. But people forget about that. So
that gubernatorial election is going to be important, and it's important now not only for the 4 years there, but as you just explained, the weighted voting. It's important to get Republicans out to vote.
Correct.
Because that will help solidify your voting district.
Well, one of the things, so we have currently the total points for the county is about 14,000 and a half. Okay. After this election, it should be around 17,000 and change.
Yeah.
And some districts are going to grow bigger and faster. And I would imagine Mamakating, Liberty, Fallsburg, Thompson, Bethel, their numbers are going to go up exponentially.
So we have a new supervisor in the town of Thompson.
We do. What's his name?
Is Scott Mace.
Yeah, we do have Scott Mace. A good friend of mine.
Now, he's only in a 1-year term.
1-year term.
So what do we have to look forward to under Scott's administration?
Well, Scott is sitting on is the head of a town that has 4 Democrat council people. But the funny thing about the council people, so Richie Benjamin, a long-time Republican.
Long-time Democrat.
He was a Republican. He has just switched to the Democrat Party.
Yep.
I believe he's gearing up for a race against Scott.
Okay.
For supervisor. And you have Ryan Schock on that board. There are 2 guys who I feel in most of their decision-making process tend to be conservative in thought. Okay? Their party affiliation may be something different,
right?
But conservative in thought. I think there's going to be a personality conflict there, in my opinion, between, especially if you're going to run against, if Richie's going to run against Scott, there will be a personality conflict there. There's just no way around.
And it's only a 1-year term, so
1-year term.
It's game on now.
Oh, it's game on from day one.
Right.
Yeah. And we'll see how Scott does. I mean, I have all the faith in the world in Scott. He's a professional. He's a smart guy.
Yep.
He knows where he wants to bring the town. And we'll see how it goes.
And Rich Benjamin's wife, did she change parties also?
She did not change parties. She was still a Republican.
All right. Any other highlights around the county in terms of new leadership, new administration?
No. I mean, we have that audit going down in Highland.
Right.
That is, I cannot see how it comes out clean. I just can't. We'll see how that goes. Otherwise, it's there's going to be a lot of elections next year, I'll tell you that.
Right. So we talked about the gubernatorial election. We talked about the senators, talked about Congress.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of it's an important year. It's an off-year election, but it's an important election. It's an important election for the people of Sullivan County. And for our towns. And, we talk about the big thing that the Democrats ran on this year is affordability. I think it'll be affordable because after 4 years of the Biden administration and open borders and a constant flow of drugs coming across the southern border, and I get it, it's politics, but they want to stop what's going on because the world is not completely fixed, but yet gas is down $1 a gallon, and eggs are coming down.
Okay, so coming down. Eggs are 78 cents a dozen. Okay, that's what they cost me today.
Now, what were they a year ago?
They were in the $8 range.
$8, then they're below $1.
Yeah, and they're below $1 now.
Danny Bry's probably having.
Danny Bry will be all right, but I do feel bad for him.
Right.
Eggs, generally speaking, at a store level, should be between $2.50 and $3.
Right.
To be fair, everybody makes money at that number.
Right.
Okay? Like if you look at the gas prices, right, and everyone wants $2 gas, but not everyone makes money at $2 gas. Okay. At like $2.90-ish, everyone's making money.
Right.
Okay. Everyone makes money, and the thing that people don't see right away. Now you think about eggs, right? When egg prices come down, okay, that means ingredients in almost every bread product, okay, comes down. Right? Trucking, anything made with oil, plastics, all that comes down. Okay, it may not hit the economy right away, but it does hit the economy pretty quickly, and then the total cost is coming down.
And that's what we have to look in. The United States economy is like a giant ship in the ocean.
Correct.
It doesn't turn like a speedboat.
Correct.
And you don't want it to turn like a speedboat.
No.
You don't want it to have spikes and valleys for different trends.
Well, when Biden had 21.5% inflationary rates,
Right.
that was a spike.
That was a spike.
And don't ever forget this. Inflation is a tax. Make no bones
question
about that.
Sure.
And I said that, if you go back on my Facebook page 4 years ago, I said that. When he got elected, I said inflation is a tax. Do not forget that.
No question about it.
And your costs are way up. But now, just to turn this local real fast, they made a budget based on projections. Okay, and one of and a lot of the money comes in from sales tax.
Sure.
Okay,
It's number 3.
okay. When you drop that number by 40%, okay, now you're taxing off of a new number. That money is gonna be less.
Sure.
And that's when you see the 7% drop. And that now they have to make up that $3.5 million. But how do you do that when the number keeps going down?
It's going down.
All right.
And it's going to continue to go down in all likelihood.
And what they're going to do is, mark my words, and we will sit here next year and say the same thing.
Right.
That they are going to go into your rainy day fund, into this county's protection, and they're going to raid that money to get themselves reelected. And you wait and see.
And once you do that, then your last line of defense is over. So there are a lot of things. It's wintertime. The holidays are behind us. We're into the cold days of January, though today actually is a little bit of a January thaw.
I wear a jacket today.
It's the lovely day today, but they're saying rain is coming and then winter is coming back behind it. So there's lots of things to keep an eye on, and we will keep an eye on Sullivan. Last minute comment?
No, I'm good. So I started my new job today, and then I will see how it goes.
All right. So you'll keep us posted on how tax collection is going in the town of Bethel.
I will know.
And you'll keep us posted on how tax import is going at the county level.
So Kathleen Lara,
the new treasurer's
coming by the office on Monday.
All right.
And she's going to give me, a little tutorial on how the whole thing works.
Well, we're hoping now that not only is the nominating process over, petitions are over,
for last year's
campaign is over, election is over, she's been sworn in.
Yeah.
Maybe now she'll come on Ion Sullivan and talk to us a little bit about what goes on in the treasurer's office.
Well, maybe now she knows.
Maybe she knows.
And
has she appointed a deputy there yet?
She has appointed.
And who's the deputy there?
I don't know the young man's name, but but see, now this is part of the problem with the county.
Right.
They post the deputy's salary,
right,
okay, before they hire this person. So they post a job. It was more money than Nancy Buck, the treasurer, was making. So costs were going up.
Right. Of course.
So I'm like, what are we doing here?
Sure.
Right? And then they give Kathleen, everyone talks about the sheriff's raise. And to be fair, elected officials can only negotiate their salary one time.
Not during the term.
And not during the term. It has to be before the term starts.
Correct.
So they had given her a raise, and they had given, Mr. Schiff, our fine county sheriff, a raise. And so, he can't negotiate. He can't be like, oh, I'm doing a really good job. Give me, 10,000 more this year. It doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. And that's standard operating procedure. I remember that we did, Russell Reeves was elected to county clerk. District attorney is set. It's tied to the county court judge. But the county clerk, they came in after the election, and the legislature did theirs too.
By the way, at the the legislature reorg, they did not reappoint a county attorney. They did not reappoint the clerk, and they did not reappoint the auditor. Okay, which is all part of the process.
It's all part of the process.
They were just like, just leave them where they are. I'm like, you have to take a vote in this.
Well, it's a contract that sunsets on December 31st.
Correct.
And the county attorney, I know the law is that you stay on until they reappoint somebody.
Correct.
Because they didn't worry about the law. It didn't matter. Didn't matter. But I know that when I came in, Cheryl McCausland, she was gracious, and she stayed on until I was able to come on. And
They were being kind by saying gracious.
so, I mean, that's the way it's supposed to happen. But you do have to appoint somebody. You can't just, because they're now working without an appointment. They're only in an interim basis.
Correct.
Which is really a problem. And didn't reappoint a legislative clerk?
No.
So Annie didn't get reappointed.
No, they didn't do anything.
They were advising because Annie usually would set that agenda.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
I just work here.
Well, folks, we got the first episode of Ion Sullivan in the books for 2026. We wish you all a very happy and healthy new year. And let's just start off 2026 by first going, if you're watching us on YouTube, you want to take the time right now to
smash
that like button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or some other platform, you want to be sure to leave us a comment. Let us know some of the topics that you'd like to hear, some of the community leaders that you would like to hear from in 2026. Don't have to be political leaders, can be leaders in civic or private organizations, local business people. We've had Mike Taylor on last year. We had national champion Andy Karadontis on last year to talk about his career. So drop us a line, leave us a comment. You can certainly share the link, but share the whole link. Share the link on your platforms so that we can get the word out for Ion Sullivan. And, of course, you can always drop us an email at ionsullivan@gmail.com. That's Ion Sullivan, E-Y-E, ionsullivan@gmail.com. So, on behalf of the chairman, Rob Doherty, it is all in for the Steel Curtain this week, as they will be at
they'll be hosting a Monday night game.
Hosting the Monday night game.
I just want to point out that Mr. Tom, our coach, Mr. Thompson, is 23-2 on Monday nights.
Well, and we'll all be cheering for the Steel Curtain, and they have is it the Chargers that are coming in?
No, the Texans.
The Houston Texans are coming in. Good team, good young quarterback. So it should be an exciting game. It's wild card weekend coming up. So again, on behalf of the chairman, Rob Doherty, this is Mike McGuire, thanking you for joining us for this episode of Ion Sullivan. We'll be back next week with another edition. Have a great week, folks.